Paladins are holy warriors meant to bring justice to the unjust and to extinguish evil from the darkest corners of the world. These holy warriors have high damage through means of using hard-hitting large weapons combined with infinite sustain because they have the ability to heal their wounds and their allies and grant themselves a full HP bar at all times so they can confront the toughest of foes like it's nothing. The Paladin is blessed by the Earth Tree and through these blessings has also been gifted with the capabilities of using various holy, lightning and retribution related magic. Today I will show you the most powerful Paladin build in Elden Ring, and the best thing is that you can make this build at the very start of the game. This is going to be my rendition of a strength and fate mix build. Before you continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we are almost at the magic number 69,000 and we need to get that as soon as possible, and if we're already past that, then the next goal is going to be 69 million, so hit that subscribe button and give the video a like. Don't forget to do that, and let's go and continue with the video. So for the starting class, thematically the best option is going to be the Confessor when you're picking a class, as the class starts out with a good number of points in both of these stats. For keepsake, the golden seed is always good, and in this case it's going to be good as well. Having an extra flask at the start of the game is just really nice. The Confessor starts off with a basic but definitely an all-round kit that is very functional. You get a sword, a shield and a decent shield to cast incantations, and you also get two pretty useless incantations. Basically you have something of everything, and that is nice, but the faster we start working on our desired setup, the better. So that's exactly what we're going to do. For this build we're going to do something that has never been done before on YouTube and definitely not on my channel. We're going to go to this weird place called Galit at the very start of the game. Shocking, but before we go there we want to get our mount from Melania at the Gate from Rune's Site of Grace. Then we want to pick up a golden pickled fowl food right here in Limgrave, and the Morningstar weapon right here in the Weeping Peninsula area. I'll tell you why we're doing all these absurd things in a second, but when you have done so, go to the Third Church of Marika, pick up the goodies that are laying around here for you to pick up, and then go beyond the church and take the teleport. This will teleport you to exactly here on the map, and you want to go south till you reach Fort Ferret. That's this spot on the map. Ignore all the enemies on the route to the fort, no matter how big they are. And when you arrive at Fort Ferret, you want to pick up a very nice talisman. You want to ignore all the bats while you're running inside and move towards the ladder. Just run, climb up, and then pick up the Dactus medallion. This is very important, so don't forget to do that. Then keep moving till you get to the second gap and jump down. Move to the right of yours, pick up the golden rune that's laying around there, and then jump to the sneaky pathway to your right. Keep moving till you can jump down again, and there will be the Radican Sword Shield. If you're not familiar with this talisman, it's a very good talisman that will help us out because it provides a lot of relevant stats right at the start of the game. Then go outside, kill Griel, the big ass dragon, with your Morningstar weapon equipped so you proc bleed and kill him quickly. When the dragon is almost dead, make sure to pop the golden pickled fowl food that we just picked up so we get a bunch of extra runes. Now you'll have a bunch of runes, and it's just really a nice way to get a good start as it's pretty much free. Now that we have done the standard get OP early stuff, we can start with the actual build. Make sure to also use the golden rune that you picked up inside the fort as well. Then go level up. For the start of this build, you want to spend 1 point in Fate, 3 points in Mind, and put all the rest in Vigor. So that's like 22 points in Vigor. The more Vigor you have with this build, the more profit it's going to give us in a bit. You'll see why in a second, so that's why we're going crazy with putting points into Vigor. Now go to Fort Height in Limgrave. You want to go to the top of this fort as well. Ignore all enemies. You are already very tanky now due to the points spent in Vigor. So even if you get hit a few times, it doesn't matter that much. But at the top of this fort, pick up the left part of the Dactus medallion. Now, the real power of the Paladin lies in the Altus Plateau region. You can definitely see that the Paladins have originated from this region with how various areas in this region look and really have that Paladin aesthetic going on. It's very golden and yellowish. It was built by Paladins and therefore it is definitely the Paladins' hometown. And I totally made all of that up, but with all the tree sentinels around in this area, we can definitely make that the background story. Anyways, go back to Limgrave, go to Lernia and bypass Stormville. You don't need to defeat any bosses to go to the Altus Plateau region. Then move towards the lift in the northeastern part of Lernia, use the medallion at the lift and you'll have access to the Altus Plateau region. In this region there's a lot of good stuff for a paladin and you want to pick up multiple things. First of all, let's pick up our main Ash of War. This one is an easy pickup, just move towards the capital, but ultimately follow this path that's being drawn out on the map and get to this spot. Make sure to also get all the graces on the route so it gets easier later on. When you get here, there will be an invisible scarab roaming the area, and when you get a chance to hit it, it will give you the prayerful strike Ash of War. This Ash of War is incredibly powerful, and I'm going to show you why in a second, but we need to go and pick up our main weapon first as well. Before we do that, the main weapon that you'll want to pick up is in the northern part of the Alts Plateau region, so for that, go to this spot on the map and use the teleport. You'll end up exactly here, and you can go and now pick up the weapon. The weapon is guarded by a lot of enemies. But it doesn't matter, you just want to go towards the chest in the carriage and interact with it, and you will get the weapon. This may be a suicide mission for you, but you can also try to escape. It should be relatively easy to do so. Whatever you do, just make sure to get the weapon. That is the #1 priority, and if you get it, then mission accomplished. Before I go into the weapon and the Ash of War, since we are going to be invested a lot in the Fate set, you also want to pick up the Golden Vow spell. It's really close to where we picked up Great Stars. From here you just want to move something like this and you'll end up at the Corpse Stench Shack, and you can pick up that spell as well. Golden Vow is a really good pickup that you can get at the very start of the game, as you can see, and it will buff our damage output as well as raise our defenses every time we use it, so definitely get it as well. Now let's get into the absolute monster weapon we just picked up. Great Stars is just a very powerful weapon, and you can pick it up right at the start of the game, as you see. And what makes this weapon so good is that it has incredible damage output, but it also has a lot of poise damage to stance break your enemies. It's a great hammer, it looks epic, it has a good size and does a nice range to just smack everything around you with it. It has a great moveset and it just feels very smooth to use and nice when you hit things with it. The weapon also fits the Paladin team very well, because every single time you hit an enemy with it, it will restore HP for you based on a percentage. So the more vigor you have, the more HP you will restore, which is really nice. And if you hit multiple enemies at the same time with its large range, it will stack as well. So you will get multiple procs of getting your HP back. To top it off, if you thought that was all, well, no, because it also has the most powerful status effect built in, Bleed. So as you hit enemies, you will also proc blood loss on enemies. The weapon just has it all. And then the Ash of War we picked up, Prayerful Strike, is the most Paladin-esque Ash of War in the game, and thankfully it is not just there for the team, because it is in fact extremely powerful. Apply it to Great Source and give it the Sacred Affinity. This will be important and you will see why later on in this video. Prayerful Strike basically gives you infinite sustain. Every time you hit something with it, it restores 30% of your HP for you. So again, the more vigor, the more HP you will restore. And now you know why we went so heavy on vigor right off the bat. And that is not all, because it actually has very good poise damage built in as well, and it smacks a lot of enemies in the game completely into the ground, or just one-shots them, or does both of these things at the same time. It's very satisfying to use, and all the HP you restore with it makes this a very powerful way to play the game, because basically any mob in the game is just a buffer for you to get your HP back, and against bosses you can just keep restoring your HP throughout the entire fight. So I'm going to fight Margit right now, but I will face tank every single hit from him and not dodge anything. So play as reckless as possible essentially. Margit can be as much of a rabid dog as he wants to be, but it doesn't faze me at all, because every time you use Prayerful Strike it will deal great damage. But also look at the HP bar. You get a massive chunk of HP back every time you use this Ash of War, and you can keep doing this over and over and over and over just to make sure that you will never die, but also are actually destroying whatever you're fighting at the same time. And that's why this combination is just so good. This incredibly powerful combination of Great Stars and Prayerful Strike is going to be the core idea of my Paladin build. When using Prayerful Strike you also get a bunch of hyper armor, so you rarely get interrupted when casting it, and even if the enemy goes completely ham on you, you will still get it off, which is extremely important as well. But like I said, this is not all, because Great Stars in itself already deals great damage, so you can use its moveset and unique characteristics outside of the Ash of War to just destroy whatever you're fighting as well. Now before we continue with the build, it's time to upgrade our weapons, and if you're familiar with my previous videos, then you know that we can upgrade our weapons to a very high level at the start of the game. First of all, you want to go to the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel in Lernia, go all the way to the bottom of this cave and fight the boss right there. Defeat him with Great Stars. It should be an easy fight with all the poise damage that the Great Star has. Then you will get the Somber Stone, Miner's Bell Bearing to buy Smithing Stone 1 and 2. After that you want to go to the Seal Tunnel in Elder's Plateau. Since you already got a bunch of graces here, you'll probably get here quite fast. In the Seal Tunnel, hit the hidden wall, go to the chest and pick up the second Bell Bearing to give you the possibility to buy Smithing Stone 3 and 4. Then you want to start farming the miners here. Again, it should be really easy with the Great Stars weapon as it has crazy damage and poise damage. Do this until you have 12 Smithing Stone number 5. Make also sure to upgrade your weapons in the meantime while you're farming them so the farm gets even faster. At some point you will just literally one-shot these, making it an extremely fast farm. And there are also nodes in this area that spawn Smithing Stone number 5, so look out for those as well. When you have farmed enough Smithing Stone number 5s, move through the cave some more while hitting more of the hidden walls here, and eventually you will want to drop down to the room with the big abductor thing. Go to the, I don't know what it is, but it has light radiating from its structure. Lure the abductor to it, and when he moves towards you and hits the structure, he will break it open, and it will make it possible for you to loot 3 more Smithing Stones. This time it's a Smithing Stone number 6. So now with all these Smithing Stones, you'll be able to upgrade your Great Stars weapon all the way to level 16 at the very start of the game. Yes, if that's not a good start, then what is? Now that we've worked on our weapon and Ash of War, we're going to work on the magic side of the Paladin. As we will be spec deep into Fate, it will be a really nice way to make a hybrid strength and Fate build, and it would be a waste to not pick up some incantations with all those points in Fate scaling our damage. For this you want to go to this spot exactly near the artist shack race. There will be a knight patrolling the area. Kill him and he'll drop a prayer book that you can turn in at the giant ass turtle at the Church of Vows. Afterwards you'll be able to buy Honed Bolt and Lightning Spear. Lightning Spear is going to be your ultimate ranged option as a paladin. It has a really good range and it's just really useful as an option to hit things that are really far away. And then Honed Bolt is one of the most Paladin-esque looking spells in the game. It really gives off that retribution vibe with how you cast it and then striking the enemy from the sky. And outside of it looking really cool, it's also just a really useful spell because you can use it as a faster ranged option with more accuracy to hit your enemies to bridge the distance while they're moving towards you, because you can just spam it, and with that it will just deal quick damage to whatever you're fighting at that moment. After doing this, you want to pick up 2 earthly incantations that are both very good as well. These are both the aspects of the Crucible Horns and Tails incantations. You can get the Horns incantation in Stormville. You need to go to the Rampart Tower Grace and then move along the birds, drop down till you get all the way down and fight the Crucible Knight there. He will drop it for you when you defeat him. Then the Tails incantation you can get at the Stormhill Evergoal right here. You'll have to defeat another Crucible Knight right here, and these knights have high armor and can combo you down real quick if you don't pay attention. So be careful with that, but after killing him, he will give you the incantation as well. The Tails aspect is nice because it hits your opponent twice in a row basically, and the second swipe will also poise break whatever you're fighting, and it's just a nice extra melee AoE option as a paladin. Then the Horns aspect is a good damage dealer as well, and it's going to function as a bridge between the ranged aspect and the melee aspect of the paladin. You can use it to get quickly to an enemy and start smashing them. You can also do really nice combos with it. For example, use Horns into a prayerful strike to get a nice, quick and useful combo. Or you could use Horns into Tails for an alternative combo that will hit really hard as well, and is another nice option to consider. And finally, you can also pick up Flame Grant Me Strength right here as another buff option to use with Golden Vow. It's nice and it will make your weapon hit even harder. You can pick up all of these incantations at the start of the game, so definitely go for it. And if you don't give a rat's ass about sticking to the Paladin team and you're not a true role player, then check out my other builds that revolve around other powerful incantations to potentially use in this build, because in reality you can use whatever incantation you want, obviously, because you have the specs, but that's a choice for you to make. I will put the links for these builds in the description so you can check that out as well. Now with the method I showed you, you can also get your seal all the way to plus 15 really easily, and then you'll have a plus 16 main weapon and a plus 15 seal for having the ultimate start as a paladin. Now you can use all of this stuff to completely destroy whatever you're fighting. You can play like I showed you before, just keep healing yourself, but you have a lot of tools with this build and everything is going to hit hard for you. So that's also how I recommend you to play my Paladin build, because it is a really good and versatile build. Now after you defeat Margit, you'll unlock the second talisman slot, and for this you will want to pick up the Sacred Scorpion Charm in the Smoldering Church in Caelid. You will get invaded here, but it's a really easy fight with our setup. This poor invader doesn't even have a 1 million chance against us. When you defeat the invader, you will get the talisman, and this talisman will raise our holy damage, which is nice because both our Ash of War as well as our weapon will deal a lot of holy damage, so it's a nice bonus. In a similar nature, for our flask, you want to pick up the Holy Crag Tear from the Earthtree Avatar in northeastern Lernia, close to the bridge you were just a moment ago to go to the Altus Plateau region. The Earthtree Avatar is, however, really tanky and more of like a mid-game enemy, so keep that in mind. We are still at the start of the game, but yeah, you can safely kill him with Prayerful Strike. Afterwards, when you do so, he will drop the Holy Crag Tear for you, and this is another increase to our damage output. Then you want to pick up the Fate Node Crystal Tier in the Weeping Peninsula area right here. This is a no-brainer pickup. We get plus 10 to our Fate stat with this at the start of the game every time we use our flask, so that means more damage from both our incantations as well as our weapon. The reason why I spent exactly 1 point into Fate at the start of the game is because you will be at 25 exactly with the flask now, and thus you can use Golden Vow at the very start of the game as well. And that brings us to the next part, stats. For stats, I would highly recommend you in the next 5 levels to put those 5 points all into strength, so you can start using the Great Sar's weapon one-handed. Otherwise you have to always use it two-handed, which is more damage obviously for normal attacks, but then you have to swap every time between your seal and weapon, which can be a bit tedious, so get that going for sure. And after doing that, you will want to prioritize getting 27 Fate, so you can cast all incantations without relying on the flask and get a nice bonus to our damage, because we already are very tanky at this moment in time. So do that, and then you'll just really want to start working towards this stat distribution. Get 50 Fate, 25 Strength, 50 Vigor, 25 Endurance and 24 Mind. Our weapon scales mostly with Fate, so get 50 Fate to reach that first soft cap for Fate when using weapons and to make our incantations hit even harder. And then get 25 Strength to fully meet the requirements of Great Stars without needing the Radicant Sword Shield, and get the rest of that scaling damage for our weapon through Strength. There will be situations where you want to just only use your weapon, and in those cases you can just two-hand it, giving you that nice 1.5 multiplier, so 25 strength will then be equal to 38 strength, and that is a nice extra bonus that you should consider using depending on if you only need your weapon or not. Then you definitely want 50 vigor, so you get good value out of our Ash of War and weapons HP restoring capabilities, and just to be very tanky, 25 endurance to give you a lot of extra stamina, so you don't run out of stamina so fast when you're just chaining your weapon attacks. And it gives you more possibilities for armor later on in the game. Because we went so deep into vigor, we don't really need that much armor right now, but it's definitely something you will want to pick up later on. And then 24 mind to have enough FP so you don't quickly run out of mana when using incantations and your Ash of War. 24 mind will be more than enough for this purpose, and I think you can pretty much just run FP flask mostly because you get all the HP you need with the Ash of War. So if you don't even need 24 mind, you can also get 20 mind and then put the final 4 points into vigor as well. For a level 150 build, I would definitely suggest getting 60 vigor to get even more value out of Prayerful Strike, and then just put the rest into Fate and Strength to get even more damage. Now with this build you just have it all, both ranged and melee hard hitting and healing options all in one. When your enemy is in the distance, you can start the fight through means of the Paladin's powerful magic, and then in melee range you can start using your main weapon, which heals you. It deals massive damage and poise damage, so you can easily stance break whatever you're fighting, and you have infinite sustain through your Prayerful Strike, which with every use will heal you with a massive chunk of your HP while hitting your enemy really hard. Due to the hybrid nature of this build, it also allows for all kinds of very powerful and fun combos. With the optimization in this video, you have good survivability and damage output, and through the versatility of the build, it's just a very fun and safe way to destroy the game. I hope you enjoyed this video. I might make a follow-up video where we consider late game options and optimize for it. Let me know in the comments if you want that, but for now you have an extremely powerful build that you can easily destroy the game with. If you liked the video, leave a like, that helps out a lot. Make sure that you've pressed the subscribe button and also hit the bell thing so you're the first to get notified when I upload something, and leave your thoughts in the comments.